Well, look, thank you for the privilege of presenting today. Good afternoon. It's early in my morning. I'm James Brodie. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at ID Theory. And today I am excited to introduce you to SciGraph. So this is a platform that we believe is poised to accelerate scientific breakthroughs. And it does that by leveraging decentralized knowledge graphs. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through SciGraph, the vision behind it and how it came to be, some of the work we've been doing with Origin Trail, and I want to try and demonstrate how we think this can accelerate discoveries in science. It does this by connecting researchers to data and allowing AI to run over the top. And really all of this is done in a decentralized system. So in short, we're leveraging DKGs, decentralized knowledge graphs, for serendipitous discoveries. So I invite you all to imagine a world where scientific knowledge flows freely, accelerating breakthroughs that could change lives. This is a world where researchers can collaborate collectively across many different disciplines without geographical borders, and they're going to be unhindered by the typical data silos that we see in science today and the institutional barriers that have been put up, not just in pharma, but in academia. So SciGraph aims to make this vision a reality. It's going to serve as a catalyst, really, for innovation. And it's going to do this in my world of decentralized science, or DSci. And I'll talk a little bit more about what DSci is in a moment. But really what we're looking to do here is connect together fragmented knowledge and foster a spirit of collaboration. So with all that said, let's really first talk about some of the challenges that we see in modern science. The first main one, as I've mentioned already, is data silos. Quite often research is locked away. It's either locked within an institution or behind, a company's firewall, or when it comes to academic research, behind paywalls for the most part. Secondly, there's slow progress. When we're talking about publications, the literature takes a while to kind of emerge into the public. These traditional methods of publication with refereeing, they're really slow, they're very cumbersome, they're actually quite expensive. And unfortunately, they delay the dissemination of knowledge. Third, and where DSci comes in, is this lack of collaboration. There are barriers, not just within disciplines in a single institution, but between every single institution around the world. And I think, the result of this is just a lack of cross-pollination of ideas and ideas that lead to breakthroughs. So these challenges, these three main challenges, they really limit our ability to make serendipitous discoveries. And these are the things that we believe are the paradigm shifts. They transform science and they transform more broadly society. So I said I'd talk about DSci. How are we going to overcome all of these challenges and accelerate innovation? And this is where DSci comes into play, because it leverages blockchain to fully democratize scientific research. It disrupts pharmaceutical companies, it disrupts academia, it disrupts the current structures and the incumbents. And really at the forefront of DSci are these crypto-native entities that we call BioDAOs. These are biotechnology-focused, decentralized, autonomous organizations. Now, the aim of a BioDAO is to find a community and to pool capital together where they fund research collectively. So everyone within a BioDAO will have a shared vision. And through governance and this shared treasury, they can start directing funding to the areas that matter to them most, right? And so we're moving from, a profit-orientated model where shareholders have control to a model where stakeholders have control. And within BioDAOs,
James, I think we lost the connection with you, and I don't think if it is me or if it is you.
So
It's not
really,
me, it's you, okay.
is that okay? Can you still hear
Yeah,
me okay?
we lost you for a bit, for like a minute. No, less, 20 seconds.
Well, I was just talking about I was talking about BioDAOs. They're decentralized biotechnology organizations. They fund early stage research. There's a few examples along the bottom: VitaDAO, longevity. This is an area that's really not funded. It's not recognized. There aren't regulatory pathways to extend life. There's Cerebrum DAO, focused on brain health. There's Athena DAO, focused on women's health. Really, it's an ignored area, and it's very underfunded as well. Hair loss. And at the end there is Sci-DAO, which is interested in the development of psychoactive compounds and psychedelics. So they really enable a more equitable distribution of funding in essence, and they empower diverse voices across the world who are more interested in impact than profit. And importantly, they kind of foster a culture of collaboration. So it's through DeSci and BioDAOs that SciGraph has a real opportunity to make a difference, and we can optimize resources and we can support the best science. And it's not just supporting the most well-connected labs who get all of the grant funding. So where does SciGraph fit in to the story and this landscape? Well, at ID Theory, alongside our colleagues at Origin Trail, we envisaged a platform to unlock collective intelligence. And this will enable serendipitous discoveries, which is the really important part. That's why we built SciGraph. It connects data, it connects researchers, and it connects AI in a completely decentralized ecosystem. So through this, we think it's going to enable the unexpected connections of interesting areas of research, and it's really going to accelerate scientific breakthroughs and discoveries. So SciGraph effectively empowers DeSci and it empowers BioDAOs, and it's going to optimize the resources that these BioDAOs are dealing with and drive innovation forward. So it's this integration of the DKGs that we really think can advance this scientific breakthrough. Okay, so with all that said, how does SciGraph work? Well, first of all, we have this idea of knowledge mining, where contributors come to SciGraph and they create and submit knowledge assets. These knowledge assets are basically valuable pieces of information, and they can be anything such as research findings, preprints, data sets. This could be, for example, sleep data from an Oura ring, or most importantly, publications as they hit the press. And so all of these assets are actually stored on the DKG, which has been built by Origin Trail. It's a protocol. It has all of the data there, fully accessible, transparent if you want it to be. And it's verifiable and it's secure. And on the right-hand side, we can see the token economy, which is Neuro. And basically, we use Neuro to incentivize people to put the best data types up into the knowledge graph. So with those three pieces in mind, finally, and this is the future, this is the sci-fi bit, we're going to have AI agents explore the DKG, and they're going to be able to uncover hidden insights, facilitating serendipitous discoveries, making unexpected connections between disparate pieces of information across various fields in the scientific domain. And so by connecting together globally, SciGraph is going to enable researchers powered or superpowered by AI to collaborate in new ways. So I've said serendipitous discoveries quite a few times. An important book that I've read in the past is Thomas Kuhn's The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. And when we've had these big paradigm shifts in science, they've usually come about by new entrants to the scene, younger scientists, people who have been not affected by the status quo, by the dogma, look at things through new angles, and have generally come up with the most famous discoveries that have driven science forward. they've also come up with serendipitous discoveries by accident. And I think the most famous of those is Alex Fleming's discovery of antibiotics. But similarly, agents, they're unburdened by human biases, and they have this ability to rapidly explore unconventional hypotheses. These agents can identify links between things that would be overlooked by common researchers who just don't have all of this information at their disposal. They can form new hypotheses between very different areas. They can make surprising connections because they have context over all of these overlapping and what we would ordinarily think of as very, very distinct subjects. But we think it's within these niches, right, within these overlaps, where some of the most significant breakthroughs lie. And it's these discoveries that we think AI can power between these disparate fields. Secondly, the Sci-Graph is going to allow for autonomous research. It's all well and good if we've got AI agents generating, hundreds of thousands of new hypotheses, but really, what does it mean? Well, they're going to have access to all of the verified data on the DKG. And this hypothesis generation and testing can happen rapidly, hyper-iteratively, and is always on, right? So it's basically continuous learning. And unlike humans, these things are scalable. In fact, they are infinitely scalable. So importantly, the dissemination of these new findings can happen very rapidly on the DKG, because unlike, if we're using Claude or the new ChatGPT models, our agents on top of the DKG are no longer going to be limited by their recent training cutoff dates. So with O1, I think that's September 2023. Yesterday, Claude just released its new version of 3.5 Sonnet. The training date cutoff is April 2024. We want scientists to be looking at the stuff that happened yesterday and the stuff that's coming out today, because that's where the novel hypotheses are going to emerge first. So quite literally, these AI agents are going to have the latest information at the tips of their fingers. And lastly, this just means that we're going to enhance human creativity. We actually get an opportunity to free the scientists and the researchers from the burdens of their bureaucratic lives. They can start innovating again and thinking. And like, one thing that humans are better than LLMs at is creativity. So the problem solving of humans augmented by their mechanical brethren, I think the synergy between human and artificial intelligence is going to lead to breakthroughs that probably just wouldn't have otherwise occurred. So Sci-Graph's going to help on the AI side, but it's also going to play a very crucial role in empowering BioDAOs. And this is what matters a lot to me in my fund. We invest a lot in DeSci. I also run a decentralized investment DAO, and we think that Sci-Graph is going to completely revolutionize the way that these BioDAOs work. It really is going to help guide these BioDAOs to make the right decisions about where to invest their treasuries, which is the most promising research. It's going to help identify the most suitable researchers who are open to collaborating, probably, not the tier 1 Harvards and Oxford universities, but that's not necessarily where the best science are, especially in some of these niche scientific areas. So we think it's really going to help direct capital to where it's needed most. Something I haven't mentioned about DeSci is that intellectual property and patents can be wrapped up in NFTs. And so the DKG is going to allow us to identify or uncover potentially really interesting intellectual property. It's going to assist the BioDAOs in spotting these opportunities for innovation, but what's important is also commercialization. A drug is only good if it works and makes money, because it needs to fund the next set of drugs that are coming through the pipeline. So these agents, they're going to rapidly conduct freedom to operate searches. Is there an IP opportunity in this space to be capitalized on? They can even arrange laboratory experiments with contract research organizations. I spent 10 years in pharma developing drugs before I got into fund management in crypto. And it was, over a period where there was a lot of consolidation and big pharma were buying up all the biotechs. I think a knock-on effect of that was the creation and almost decentralization of the industry, where we would have contract research organizations doing a lot of work for us. Now, BioDAOs and DeSci can leverage all of that machinery, and when it's superpowered to make the discoveries that the SciGraph is going to help it make, I think working through these contract research organizations, not only are we going to uncover IP, but we're going to be able to actually generate IP, and we can use that IP, we can sell fractions of that IP off to fund the next stage of what's generally a very longitudinal development of a medicine. And then furthermore, we're just fostering collaborative information. You know, if all of this stuff is out and transparent and in the open, BioDAOs can leverage the shared knowledge that sits across the SciGraph to really accelerate in multiple domains simultaneously research that is impactful for them. So in essence, excuse me, SciGraph really provides the data-driven insights that we know from our experience BioDAOs need, and it's going to help them make strategic decisions, and it's going to maximize the impact of the science that they do. So this just brings us all back around to this concept of science finance, or Sci-Fi. It's a new paradigm in funding scientific research, early stage R&D. It's empowered by platforms like SciGraph. It's, in our eyes, going to revolutionize science. And so with that, I'm just going to briefly show you a quick video to see how the SciGraph works.